Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to have a little rounding to the nearest 10. Rounding to the nearest 10. So, if we are rounding 76 to the nearest 10, and remember, these wavy signs are about. There's two different ways to do this. First of all, if we wanted to, we could draw our number line. This is one strategy. Okay, you're going to say, well, I'm rounding to the nearest 10, so how many 10s do I have? I have 7 10s, which is 70. One more 10 is 80. And halfway in between is going to be 75. Then I can say, okay, on this number line, where's 76 going to go? Well, 76 is going to go right here. So therefore, it's going to round to 80 because it's closer to 80 than it is 70. So 76 would round to 80. We usually do pretty good when they're two-digit numbers. Where we start struggling a little bit, oh, wait just a second before I show you that. So there's another strategy. You can go 76, underline what you're rounding to. You're rounding the 10s. Go next door. Ask yourself, is it 5 or more? That's a question. Is it? Well, it is. So that means the 7's going to go up, and everything after the place value is going to go to 0 because we're rounding. So therefore, it's going to get us to 80 both times. The problem we have is when we are dealing with three-digit numbers. So for example, if I use the number 243, and I said round to the nearest 10. Okay, well, we could do the number line if we wanted to, draw the number line, but this is where some students go wrong. We're underlining the 4 because it's in the 10s, but we were taught that 10 10s is 100. So in this number, we actually have 24 10s. So we would have 24 10s or 240. Now one more 10 is going to be 250. And halfway in between that is going to be 245. Now if I was to put 243 on my number line, it's going to be before my 245. So therefore, it's going to round to my 240. Now if I was to use the other strategy for it, it would be 243 is rounded to, underline my 10, go next door. Is it 5 or more? That's the question we ask. Is it 5 or more? It's not. So that means he stays the same. Everything in front of him stays the same because it's 24 10s, but everything behind the 10s place would go to 0. Now this is how we round when we're rounding to the nearest 10. But the problem is, sometimes we have to round to the nearest 100. So if we're rounding to the nearest 100, I'm going to write 100 here. So if we're rounding to the nearest 100, and say that we have, let's say that we have 483. Okay? So we can draw our number line. That's one strategy we could use if we wanted to. How many hundreds do we have? Well, we have 400. What's one more 100? That's 500. Halfway in between is going to be 450. Now, is the 483 going to go between 400 and 450 or between 450 and 500? Well, it's going to go in between. So therefore, we circle the 500, and 483 rounded to the nearest 100 is 500. Now, if we were rounding the other way, we would do the same thing. 483, this is the other strategy. Underline our hundreds, go next door, ask yourself the question, is it 5 or more? If it is, so therefore it rounds up, so 4 goes to 5, and everything else goes to 0. So it's the same answer no matter which strategy you use. Now this is how we round to the nearest 10 or to the nearest 100.